All right, welcome to Module 8. This is where we're going to cover the 8th house and just get, I know we've been repeating every single time we're going through the houses, and it will become very second nature to you to look at the house and know what area of life that this is. So we've gone through the first, who am I? The second house, what do I need to live in this reality? So money, my house, those things. Third house, what do I consider interesting information? How do I communicate? Fourth house, what's my sanctuary? Where's home? Where are my roots? The fifth house, how do I creatively express myself? My childlike innocence. Fifth house. Sixth house, daily routines, health and wellness. So you can see this progress, okay? And then from health and wellness, daily routines, we go into the seventh house. And this is where we are able to relate with somebody else and deeper relationships. So intimacy, an intimate relationship where somebody, let's just call it relationship. And I just want you to know the seventh house relationship is more about really being seen by somebody. The eighth house, now that we've been really seen by somebody, the eighth house is where we really share energy. We mix energy. We get into that energetic realm. I think of this as taboo. What is taboo? And how do what part of me is taboo? My secrets. Do I talk about money, my spirituality, sex, death, and orgasms, sex, death, and money, the energy of music. So when you hear music and it creates this feeling in your body and it's that energetic response, memories come into here, rituals. When you're in a ritual, you invoke, whatever it is you're invoking, you're able to really feel it and it draws your soul out. The way I'm seeing this right now is like these things, spirituality, other people's money feels different than your own money. So the eighth house has to do with other people's money. Music, ceremonies and rituals, a sexual experience. It's like it draws your soul out, and then you see your soul. You get a tactical feeling of that. And, it's a really deep experience where you have this meeting of yourself, of your energetic double. So this is that eighth house realm of mystical experiences in a different way than the 12th house. So the 8th and the 12th house are really, really tough to talk about with human words, because the 8th house is the mystical in the sense of death and regeneration and vulnerability and power. Whereas the 12th house is mystical in a numinous, the whole sea of consciousness. It's almost like universal love, all-encompassing, inclusive. It's like an angelic mystical thing, whereas the 8th house is mystical in the sense of like dropping you down into your soul, pulling you down into the earth. So it's sort of like an earth realm mysticism where we have the shamans, the sorceresses, the priestess of the body wisdom. We have more of this physical earth realm kind of mysticism, and then 12th house is more angelic and all-encompassing. It's all-inclusive, cosmic, collective consciousness. So these two we're going to have a lot of fun with thinking about and doing homework about and really getting into that headspace. So the 8th house, being that it is like Pluto and it is like Scorpio, you kind of, after watching the videos on Pluto and Scorpio, you kind of get a sense of what the 8th house is about. So in this whole scheme of things, I went through 1 through 7, and it's a progression of growing in our maturity. Now that we get to the 8th house, this is where we're able to have a deep sexual experience with that person that we brought into our 7th house. We may even explore fantasies and other types of relational sexual experiences that maybe we have never done before because it's taboo topics. It has to do with, like, we don't even know. You never know what's in the eighth house. It's like an attic or a basement kind of thing. There's lots in there. It's deep and dark, and we're continuously exploring and figuring it out and learning more about it. But just like Pluto, you don't want to run from it. You want to go into it. And I think taking it little bit by little bit is a very healthy way of approaching the eighth house material. So you'll want to look at your chart and see what you have in the eighth house. So this person has the south node in the eighth house, saying that karmic patterning and conditioning is here in the sign of Leo and in the eighth house. So eighth house, south node, says that for this person with south node in the eighth house, that their habits, patterns, and conditioning have to do with being really addicted to that energy, being really addicted to the power of those shamanic realms. And that's just because South Node has to do with our habits, patterns, addictions, our karmic patterning. And the eighth house has to do with feeling massive amounts of power. So it is also where you feel, it's like where you get a sense of really feeling your own personal power. Whatever planet that you have there that's the force. I have Neptune in the eighth house. Neptune being the visionary dreamer. There's a magic manifesting that happens with Neptune. You put Neptune in the eighth house, those eighth house. Okay, so whatever the planet is, that is the force. So now I'm talking about eighth house as this area of life where we all have a longing we all have a longing to feel our personal power. And a lot of people will do it in passive aggressive ways because it's especially for women, we're not taught to do that because it's a lot of things, women were hung for doing eighth house, for being in their eighth house. Or they go to they're in the brothel or in the, in doing sex work or something like that. Eighth house things are, I'm a loss for words because where in normal society right now do you see, you go on the internet and find the Mystic Raven or me when you want to get to know eighth house things. We are not taught about it. You might go to Peru and seek out an ayahuasca ceremony with a shaman. These are eighth house things. They're not woven into our current pattern of society. So back to the planet. I mentioned that I have Neptune in the eighth house. So those Neptunian things get me into my eighth house. So anytime, it's weird. I know it might sound weird, but these Neptune topics really turn me on. Neptune topics being like talking about dreams, getting really deep into fantasy land of like, mythology, any talk about spirituality or, ancient cultures, like all of this Neptune, dreamy, visionary stuff. I really feel that in my eighth house. I mean, that really gets me into that eighth house feeling mode. Okay, so let's put another planet there, Venus that's Neptune and Venus kind of have similar qualities in this sense. When you put it in the house, let's go ahead and put Mercury in the eighth house. So Mercury in the eighth house, the force of communication. This person is going to want to communicate about those eighth house topics and really being the transmitter of those eighth house things. And in their eighth house, they probably have extra information or extra dialogue, or that the information that comes through them hits them right in that place that makes them feel. And they could also be very oriented to communication that really draws you into your emotions. Let's put Moon in the eighth house. So Moon, our level of mastery that we come into life already having. It's our emotional set point, our stream of moods, moods, the most usual flow of moods that we've had our whole life. You put that in the 8th house, and now this person is going to be mood oriented to sex, death, other people's money. They're going to have a resonance with that 8th house material. In some way, all of the planets have some 8th houseness to them. I mean, even Jupiter. I mean, I think it's because when you move them through, when you move the planets through the houses, it's just like all these things. There's a posture, there's a body part, there's a planet, a sign. They all have a similar, they resonate in a way. So let's go ahead and put Jupiter in the 8th house. Jupiter makes things bigger, expands it. It is the great, I just lost the word. It makes things bigger. That's so weird. I also think of Jupiter as the vehicle for transformation, for evolution, the vehicle for evolution. So Jupiter in the 8th house says that tapping into those 8th house things, that's where your abundance is, that part of you that is the inner guru. Enlightenment happens when you're doing those 8th house things. So Jupiter wanting to expand and evolve and make it bigger, more abundant, it's through that 8th house that you're going to be able to do that. So tapping into those 8th house topics. It could be through, I'm seeing music now because of that vibration, just being with a singing bowl or whatever type of shaky thing. I have this chi machine that shakes me around. So then once it stops, my whole body is vibrating and buzzing. And I feel very 8th house, very shamanic, like I've been through something. Okay, so hopefully that helps. And next module, we'll take this from 1 through 8, and then we'll move into the 9th house of philosophy, higher intelligence, learning, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.